The first thing on your list is the engine start. So you want to show the examiner that you know how to safely buckle in before you start this truck. So I'm buckled in, my parking brake's engaged, my trailer brake's engaged, and I'm gonna do just that. This right here, and this right here. Yep, they're both engaged. And if you have one of these, you'll shake the chicken or the stick and say, my truck's in neutral. I can start this truck. So here you'll push the clutch all the way down to the floor. And you wait for there's a glow point. You'll wait for that to heat up. And then you can start the truck. So the first thing I'm going to check is I'm going to look at my gauges up here to see where my air pressure is. And then I'm going to do the air brake check. So I think of the air brake check as GALE. Governor cutoff switch, air loss test, low air alarm test, emergency brake test. And I tell the examiner that I'm going to start out with the governor cutoff switch. And right now I need to relieve the tanks of some air to reset the governor. So I'm going to do that right now. So I'm just going to pump in there. I'm going to drop those two needles below 100. Okay, now I'm going to mention that I've reset the governor here. Now I'm going to build air up to the governor cutoff. I should hear the governor cutoff somewhere between 120 psi and 140 psi. I'm going to crack the window here a little bit. So I'll just help it out here, give it some assistance. I heard the governor cutoff switch right at about 120 psi. So now I'm going to do the air loss test, or A. So to do the air loss test, I'm going to tell the examiner, I'm going to talk myself through it. I'm going to press and hold the brake pedal like this. I'm just resting my foot on there and kind of pushing it a little bit. I'm not pushing way down into it to the metal because I'll lose air. Then I'll mention to the examiner that I would chock my tires, but my foot's on the brake here. So now I'm going to release the parking brake and the trailer brake. And then I'm going to turn the truck to the off position, which the key's straight up and down, and then back to the on position. I'm going to wait for my gauges to settle. Right now I'm at about 98 psi. I shouldn't lose 4 psi in 1 minute. I'm going to time myself for 1 minute. The longest minute of my life here. Now if you're a Class B, you would do, they're not in here, they're inside. You do 3 psi, but I don't want to confuse you. So we're in a Class A, so I'm going to time myself for a minute, and I will not lose 4 psi in that minute. So you'll time yourself with either your watch or your phone. Sometimes on occasion the examiner will do it for you, but that's rare. So wait for that minute to come up. You'll say that, well, it's been a minute now. My gauges are still at about 98 psi. I didn't lose 4 psi in that minute. Now I'm going to do L, or low air alarm. I'm going to pump the brake pedal, and before 55 psi, I will see and hear the low air alarm. I both hear and see the low air alarm right here, right at about 70 psi. So now I'm going to do the emergency brake, or E. I should both, I'm going to pump the brake pedal, and somewhere between 45 and 20 psi, those two valves will pop out. Those are my emergency brakes. And by the way, these become the emergency brakes when the air pressure drops below 45, but it cannot drop below 20 without those popping out. You don't have to say that, I'm just explaining that to you. So I'll say that E, the emergency brake test, I'm going to pump the brake pedal here. Between 45 and 20 psi, those valves will pop out. Right at about 45 psi, my emergency brakes popped out. So I don't know, I mean, they pop out, they're kind of working right now, but I want to start this truck and test them. I want to make sure they're holding. And I might even say that. So I'm going to start the truck up immediately here. don't want to say anything, you don't have to. Don't put it in first gear. I put it in first gear because first gear catches really quick. And then, no brake pedal, no gas down here. I'm just going to lock out the clutch. My emergency brakes hold. Now I'm going to build air back up to the safe level. So the safe level is anywhere between 90 psi and 120 psi, but typically 100 psi. So I'll tell the examiner that I'm going to build air back up to the safe level. It's typically at 100 psi. That's what it says in section 5 of the manual. But you can also say somewhere between 90 and 120. So now I'm going to increase the air here, give it some assistance. When those two needles are right at 100 psi, I can move on. But I'm going to wait for that to happen. So if you talk yourself through this and kind of take your time, don't push it or rush it, it'll happen. So, but you'll fumble if you're like, you know, if you're like, stumble if you're like trying to do it really quick. There's no need to. Not there yet. Okay. Both my tanks, my primary and secondary, that's what this 1 and 2 mean. They're at 100 psi. I'm at the safe level right now. I'll reread this and I'll say, well, I'm done with the air brake check here. I'm going to move on to the parking brake and trailer brake. So I'm gonna test the parking brake to make sure it's holding. I'm gonna put it in gear right here. Let's make sure first. I'm gonna release the trailer brake, and I'm gonna pull against the parking brake. When I pull against this, I shouldn't move forward. This clutch here. I didn't move forward. My parking brake holds. So now I'm gonna do the trailer brake. I'm gonna engage the trailer brake and disengage the parking brake. I'm still in gear right now. I'll explain to the examiner that I'm going to go ahead and pull against the trailer brake. That trailer brake should keep me from moving forward, and it also tests my trailer connection. So I just kind of walking this out a little bit. This little Cummins motor in here, if you release that all the way at the top end, you can drag this trailer like down the road. So don't do that, just kind of like this. All right, I'll say my trailer brake kept me from moving forward, and my trailer is securely connected. Trailer brake holds, or works. All right, so now I'm gonna look at my list here. I'm gonna do the service brake. So this is released. I'm gonna release the trailer brake. I'm still in gear. I'm gonna give us about 5 or 6 seconds before I pull forward, because I gotta release the air in the truck. All right, there we go. And I'm gonna pull forward here a little bit, and I'm gonna apply the service brake. I'll tell the examiner when I apply this service brake here, my truck should brake evenly. It shouldn't pull drastically to one side or the other. Service brake works, didn't pull on either side. So now I can pull these out, and I can cross that off right there, and now I'm going to do the light indicators. When I do the light indicators, the first thing I'm going to do is start with the dash. I'm going to point out that I don't have a DEF warning light or an ABS warning light at all, or any check engine warning lights up here. I would see them up here, and I do not. The only warning light I have now tells me that my parking brakes are engaged, and that's correct. All right. So then this is my left indicator right here. I can see it's working. And oh, by the way, you don't have to say this, but if it's blinking really fast, that means you have a short. So you'd say it's free of shorts because it's blinking normally if you want to. This is my right indicator right here. It's blinking. I can see it, and it's blinking normally. You don't have to say that, but someone said it, and I'm going to say it to you. So I can see it. It's working. These are my hazards right there. I can see them both. They're working. This is my high beam indicator right there. I can see it. It's working. All my dash lights are working, and I can read all my gauges clearly. Check it out. Emergency equipment. These are my spare fuses. None are missing, none are used. They're all there. You can pan down here. These are my DOT approved triangles inside that red box. There's 3 of them. None are missing. They're not broken or cracked. My fire extinguisher is secured to the back of the seat right here with that latch. That latch is not unlocked or loose. The extinguisher itself is not cracked or leaking. The safety pin's in place, and that needle's in the green spot, so it tells me it's fully charged. Scratch it up. Windshield and traffic monitoring devices. So this is my windshield right here. It's clean and clear. It's free of cracks or chips. No illegal stickers. Nothing here blocking my view up here or here. I can see clearly. My mirrors or traffic monitoring devices are right here, right there, right there, right there, and also right up there. All right? So I'm going to point to all the mirrors and say that they're all clean and clear. Nothing's blocking my view. I can see everything behind me, and they're all adjusted to me. All right, so then scratch it off, move on. Wipers and washers. I'm going to point to the wiper blades right here and right here. Now I'm going to say that they're not cracked or weathered through or loose or missing. They're tight to the glass. Excuse the spit here. And then I'm going to say that my washer fluid is full. The wipers themselves work and they clean the glass. Then I'm going to do heater and defrost up here. So if this is like that maybe, and that's like this, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to turn this dial up this way, like that. This can be technically anywhere, but I'll put it up there for now. And then I'll put this right here. The heater and defrost guy right here. Give it a second, and I'll put my hand up here. I feel air up there, and I feel air down here. Both the heater and defrost work. Now I'm going to be a nice guy and make us comfortable. Horns. Got a couple of horns here. On the old setups, the freeway horn is on the steering wheel, but in this setup, it's a newer truck, so it's right up here. But starting with the city horn, right here is my city horn. City horn works. Freeway horn works. Horns work.